Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Head 2, and hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So we got some, this is an update on what's going on in Major League Baseball. We have some signings. Of a couple players. One that gets the bell, another good player is not on the list. There's so many players that are free agents and that could be traded. Can't get everybody, but I got an extensive list, and we've done this before. And this is an artificial intelligence driven destination. So it's a little bit different than before. Although some things are starting to change, they're starting to morph, they're starting to go in different directions than it was a few days ago. So I'm sure this will change just before these players sign or get traded. But let's start at the very top. I'm going to go through all the teams that could be interested and where this player is going to go. According to AI, not me, AI. You don't see this anywhere else on any other channel. But here we go. Kyle Tucker. We've heard the Cubs, the Yankees, the Mets, Seattle, the Dodgers, San Francisco, and the Phillies. It doesn't seem like the Mets or the Yankees are going to be all that interested in him. So he's going to be going to the Dodgers, according to AI, for a 10-year, $385 million to $425 million contract. That's a lot of money. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but boy, that is a lot of money for a guy I don't think he's really that good. Next up, Pete Alonso. Now, this has changed as well because originally AI was saying the Cubs. We had the Mets. The Mets want him back. According to Carlos Beltran, the Mets are trying to get him back. But we have San Francisco, the Phillies, Boston, the Cubs, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. AI is saying, as I do this video, he's going to go to the Red Sox, which I said that was where he was going to go. He's going to get 5 years, $168 million. Next up, another Met that they're trying to bring back, and that's Edwin Diaz. I thought that he was going to go back to the Mets, and AI said he was going to go back to the Mets. Now, he said the other day 50-50. Well, AI saying is that he's going to go to the Blue Jays for 4 years, $88 million plus a fifth year. So who knows what the money's going to be? Maybe 110, 120. Dylan Cease, he's going to sign. And he's got a whole bunch of teams on him. We got the Mets, the Mets, the Angels, the Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta, the Red Sox, and the Phillies. They say he's going to go to the Giants. 6 years, $156 million. Zach Gallen for the Mets, Houston, Arizona, the Angels, and San Francisco. They're saying, AI is saying, the Yankees, 5 years, $120. I'm surprised the Yankees will be in the market for another starter. Framber Valdez. Now, I've done a video on him where he's going to go. He's going to go to the Blue Jays. 6 years, $168 million. A lot of teams are going to be in on him. Mets, Yankees, Seattle, St. Louis, the Cubs, the Giants, Baltimore, Boston. Cody Bellinger. The Mets, Detroit, New York Yankees, Texas Rangers, Toronto, Phillies, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. They say he's going to go to the Mets. 7 years, $182 million. That might have changed. I'll have an updated version. I'll update it right after this video, I guess. Bo Bichette. Well, I said the other day that he was going to resign with the Jays. I think that's going to happen. I think them going to the World Series and resigning Vladdy last year kind of puts him back in Toronto. Ranger Suarez. We've heard Toronto, San Francisco, the Phillies, the Mets, the Cubs. AI is saying he's going to sign with the Mets on 5 years, $130 million. I did down the baseball head. Kyle Schwarber. I don't think he's going anywhere but the Phillies, and AI agrees. 5 years, $140 million. It's fair. Mutaka Murakami. We've heard a whole bunch of teams, but it seems like the Mariners are going to match that price, posting money, and they're going to sign to a 10-year deal, which is a lot of years, and $225 million. We'll see what does Josh Naylor re-signing with the Mariners, what that means for Murakami. Jeff McNeil is on the trading block. The Mets want to trade him. They want to get rid of the money. They got young players that can play all kinds of positions just like him. I don't think his surgery, which is a minor thing they said, was not going to really preclude him from getting moved. But we've heard Seattle, Minnesota, the Angels, Arizona, Houston, Atlanta, Chicago. This is White Sox, San Francisco, Detroit, the Yankees, and San Diego. But AI is saying he's going to the Astros for a middle reliever and Jacob Melton, I think. David Peterson. AI saying that there's a good possibility that he'll get traded to Detroit for Skubal, but it doesn't seem like Skubal's going to get moved. We'll talk about him momentarily. Sandy Alcantara. Got a whole bunch of teams that could trade him. We've heard the Mets, Yankees, Dodgers, Seattle, Cubs, Boston, Toronto, Houston, Baltimore, and Detroit. Baltimore needs a big pitcher. But according to AI, he's going to the Cubs. Joe Ryan with the Twins. The Twins traded everybody at the deadline. And anything that wasn't like nailed to the floor, they traded. But Joe Ryan's still there. We've heard the Mets, Boston, the Cubs, San Francisco, the Angels, Yankees, Toronto, Detroit. AI is saying Boston. Logan Gilbert. Again, all the same teams. Except the Phillies are in on this. The Giants, Detroit, Angels, Toronto, Boston. Boston's going to be looking for more pitching. And Boston's going to get him. Merrill Kelly. He's a free agent. We've heard the Mets, Arizona, San Diego, Pittsburgh, Boston, Los Angeles Angels, Texas, Milwaukee, San Francisco, Houston Cubs. Now, all the names of these teams are teams that I found on the internet, and also teams that were suggested by AI. And Kelly's going to go to Arizona. Chris Bassett. He's going to re-sign with the Blue Jays for 2 years, $40 million. He's probably better off there. Alex Bregman. Now, this is tricky because if Bregman re-signs with the Red Sox, the Red Sox will not try to sign Pete Alonso. If they lose Bregman, then in all likelihood, Alonso will be the first baseman. That's kind of what the word is that's coming down from Boston. But Alex Bregman will be going to the Boston Red Sox, and this could have changed. But we've heard the Mets as well, Seattle, although I haven't heard the Mets. Seattle, Washington, believe it or not, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, the Cubs, Toronto, Detroit, Milwaukee, and Texas. Mike Conforto, he does have some teams on him. The Angel, the Angel, we'll put the Angels there. The Dodgers, the Giants, Arizona, Cincinnati, and the Mets. He's going to stay on the West Coast somewhere. Lucas Giolito, I've heard him sign with the Yankees. Trent Grisham has a question mark. He's the one player that I asked Rock where he was going to go. Question mark. But because he's got this qualifying offer. Why did the Yankees give him a qualifying offer? Can't understand one. Rhys Hoskins. He was with the Brewers the last few years. Either he's going to stay on the East Coast and go back to the National League. I guess him going to the Marlins seemed like a good fit for him. And the American League Central. So, Michael King. Let the buyer beware. He's hurt a lot. Toronto, San Diego, the Yankees, Mets, Boston, Baltimore, Detroit, and Houston. AI says that he's going to sign with the Astros for 3 years, $63 million. Nick Martinez does not have a qualifying offer on him this year. Boston, San Diego, Cleveland, the Mets, Cincinnati, Yankees, and Atlanta. Cincinnati, 2 years, $26 million. He stays there. Emilio Pagan, the closer for the Reds, stays with the Reds. 2 years, $22 million. And this is all AI driven. Jorge Polanco will re-sign, I guess, with the Mariners for 2 years, $26 million. JT Realmuto will re-sign with the Phillies, 2 years, $26 million. Tarik Skubal will not get traded. Robert Suarez was one of the closers, one of the older closers on this market. We've heard Atlanta, the Dodgers, Baltimore, the Mets, Yankees, Toronto, San Diego, San Francisco, Phillies, and Houston. He's going to sign with the Dodgers, 4 years, $64 million. Eugenio Suarez, we've heard the Angels, Seattle, Pittsburgh, the A's, Cincinnati, Boston, and Texas. The Angels are going to sign him to a 2-year, $44 million contract. Josh Naylor re-signed with the Seattle Mariners, 5 years. They're saying about 90 to 100 million. AI said 5 years, 85 million. So that's pretty accurate. Luis Ariz. Of course, you know, the sort of poor man's Tony Gwynn. They compare him to Tony Gwynn, but he can't run. He's not a good fielder. He really is a singles hitter. But he's going to do what another singles hitter did with 1 batting titles. That's sign with the Angels for 2 years, $30 million. As you know, the other guy, they'll compare him to Rod Carew next. That'll be the next guy they compare him to. Brandon Woodruff. Where's he going to sign? Well, it's funny you should ask. He had an option, and they had an option to keep him. They didn't do that. But we've heard the Mets, the Cubs, Toronto, Miami, and Baltimore. That AI is saying he's going to sign with the Mets. He's going to sign with the Mets. for 3 years, $60 million. Clay Holmes, who has tons of value for the New York Mets. Either they keep him, they have him be the starter. They can make him the closer if they lose Edwin Diaz. They can trade him on the open market and get a ton for him. According to AI, he's going to get traded to the A's for Jacob Wilson and Tyler Soderstrom, who has power. So these are guys that could be moved. Freddie Peralta, AI saying he's not getting moved. He's staying with the Brewers. Shane Bieber stayed with the Blue Jays. Devin Williams, he's going to sign I can't believe the years on this. 2 years, $32 million. Jack Flaherty stayed with the Tigers on a contract. Gleyber Torres, they're saying he's going to sign a 3-year, $57 million contract. I guess he's got a qualifying offer. Maybe he takes it. I don't know. Ryan Helsley, I'm reading that he's probably going to, we got, Cubs, San Francisco, Texas, Detroit, Dodgers, Angels, A's. I would put with the Cardinals there as well. Apparently he did not want to leave St. Louis. And he certainly pitched like he didn't want to be in New York, that's for sure. But they're saying here, AI saying he's going to sign with the Tigers for 2 years, $22 million. Luke Weaver is going to stay with the Yankees 3 years, $30 million. Kazuma Okamoto will sign a contract, I guess get posted by the Yomiuri Giants and get posted, and the New York Mets are going to sign him to a 4-year, $64 million contract. They'll play him at first. I consider the guy that his bat will translate much better than Murakami's, and he's a better defensive player than Pete Alonso. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know anything about Hunter Green. Supposedly on the market, he's not getting moved. Mackenzie Gore is probably going to get traded to the Jays. I don't have the players there. Brendan Donovan's going to get traded. He's going to get traded to the Cleveland Guardians. Mitch Keller, which I would be shocked if he got traded, will be traded to the Boston Red Sox for Jarren Duran and Marcelo Mayer. We'll see on that. I don't know about that. Sonny Gray, the Mets, Braves, Giants, Baltimore, and Texas. I can see him going to the Orioles. But according to AI, he's going to go to the Braves. Pablo Lopez, they say he's staying in Minnesota. Pete Fairbanks, another guy that could close for the Dodgers. They're saying he's going to sign a 3-year deal for $27 million. We'll see on that. Brandon Lowe also got non-tendered. He's going to go to the Pirates or get traded to the Pirates. Well, get traded to the Pirates. That's right. They picked up his option. Jarren Duran is going to get traded to the Padres. I mean, it gives you conflicting things here. Wilmer Abreu, he's going to get traded to the Royals. Taylor Ward's going to get traded to the Royals. Joe Adell is going to get traded to the Phillies, although I have a separate issue with Cody Senga that he's going to get traded to the Mets. Brady Singer is going to be with the Diamondbacks. Adolis Garcia, we got Kansas City or Pittsburgh, and I have a whole bunch of other teams here that I've not AI'd. It doesn't matter. I don't think they got enough. I didn't want to go through all these players. I mean, all these teams. I mean, my goodness. But we got guys in the market. Jonah Heim, Alec Bohm, Randy Arozarena, C.J. Abrams, Jake Berger, Mark Vientos. I AI that. And I don't like this trade. It's a terrible trade for the Mets. But he's going to get traded, according to AI, to the White Sox for Robert Jr. Robert Jr. sucks. Stay the hell away from him. Luis Angel Acuna could get moved. Wilson Contreras is probably going to get traded. I'm here. If he could go to Boston. Because if they don't get Pete, they'll probably make a trade. Luis Severino, when the AI, they're saying the Mets, the Yankees. Tatsuya Amai, I don't have a destination yet. I will the next time I do an update. Shota Amanaga, I've heard the Angels, San Diego, Arizona, Texas. Again, I don't have an update for you on that. An AI update. We got Brad Keller, Hai-Sung Kim, Ryan O'Hearn, Harrison Bader, Rocio Iglesias. AI saying he's going to sign with Atlanta or re-sign with Atlanta. Zach Littell, Justin Verlander, he's still around. Of course, Max Scherzer's still around. Kyle Finnegan, don't have a team for him yet. Tyler Rogers, goodbye, don't want him back. Ketel Marte, let the buyer beware, although Diamondbacks are saying they're not moving him. Fernando Tatis Jr., he could get moved because they're going to try to sell the team, the Padres. Christian Walker, we'll see where he goes. He can get moved. Edward Cabrera, Spencer Jones, the prospect with the Yankees. Cody Senga, we got a whole bunch of teams that could possibly want him. The Cardinals, the Angels, Baltimore, Atlanta. I wouldn't trade with the Braves. San Francisco, Cubs, Texas, and Toronto. AI says the Angels for Joe Adell and Jose Soriano. Couple of Padres, Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado. Machado's not going anywhere. And neither is Bogaerts. They got too many years in their contract. And they don't have the value that, say, Tatis has. Nick Pivetta, Yo Darvish, Wandy Peralta, Yuki Matsui. And these are all guys that are with the Padres that could get moved. Actually, they're going to look to sell the team. So this is the artificial intelligence version of the MLB trade rumors and trade candidates. This is all AI driven for the most part, including some input from myself. I didn't come up with the numbers. That's a little over my head. I don't really care about the numbers. How many years is more important, but there's some surprises here, some not so surprises. And I'm sure when I do the next video for this AI-driven list, that I will have new teams for some of these players, because it's like dominoes fall, and you never know. I mean, Josh Naylor's signing that 5-year deal that's a big domino, because that's 5 years for a player that's not that. He's good. He's not a Hall of Fame player. He's not on a Hall of Fame track. He's not the best player at that position this offseason. And he's getting 5 years. Pilan's going to get 7 years based off of that. Who's going to give it to him? That's the trick. Who's going to give it to him? Well, you let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut 2. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. So, what a difference a coach makes. The Giants still lost. They still blew a lead in the fourth quarter. This is what happens when you have a bad team. And in the NFL, when you fire coaches, it doesn't really make a difference. Same problems. And there are major problems now coming out about this particular group. And basically, the emphasis should be on firing Joe Shane. Jalen Hyatt screwed up a play last at the end of the game. Something very suspicious happened on that play. Just stop running, And Abdul Carter, who they drafted this year, real character issues. He showed up late for session. And then they let him play. So these guys have character issues. And these are guys that the players that were brought in by the general manager. The general manager has to get fired. So if the Giants keep losing, say la vie. But these guys are a disaster from top to bottom. And even with the new coach here, the interim coach, it hasn't changed. They have to get rid of the defensive coordinator. He has to go. He's a disaster. Another blown lead late in the fourth quarter. And this is what you get with a bad team. And thank you for watching. The second team to sign a major free agent, quote-unquote major free agent, Ryan Yarbrough, the lefty reliever. They signed him to a one-year deal, according to Jeff Passan, for $2.5 million. As you know, yesterday, the Mariners re-signed Josh Naylor to a 5-year contract. That is the biggest we have so far. And, of course, in a few weeks, we're going to have the Major League Baseball winter meetings, and that's going to be a lot of fun. But you need to hit the subscribe button, know what's going on. I use artificial intelligence to figure out where these players are going to go. I did not have Ryan Yarbrough going to the Yankees because he's a reliever. There's a lot of relievers out there. I can't go everywhere with these players. I mean, what am I supposed to do? But I did predict that Josh Naylor was going to sign a 5-year deal for $85 million. It's going to turn out to be, I guess, 90 to 100. That's not bad. The AI got it very, very. AI is predicting that the Mets are going to sign lefty starter, who's been with the Phillies for many years, Ranger Suarez, to a 5-year, $130 million contract very soon. So we'll see where that goes. The Mets so far have not done much yet, but I expect them to do some massive things. They're going to be in the pitching market. We know that. They're going to try to get a number one starter in here. They have to. They need to bring in another starter from somewhere else, either through free agency or through the trade market. I expect them to do that. I also expect them to figure out what they're going to do at first base. Josh Naylor, obviously, on Sunday signed a massive contract in terms of years with the Mariners, so that really sets the market for Pete Alonso. Pete's much better than Naylor. He's going to get at least a 6-7 year deal from some team. I wonder how this adjusts Pete's market. I did predict, and the AI did predict, that he was going to sign with the Cubs for a 5-year deal, but that's out the window because Pete's better than Naylor by a large margin, as you know. But if you want to know what's going on with the Mets, I use artificial intelligence here to predict where players are going to go. If you like that stuff, smash the subscribe button. First major league domino in free agency has fallen. The Seattle Mariners have re-signed Josh Naylor. They picked him up during the season before the trade deadline, and they liked him so much they signed him to a 5-year deal. Jeff Passan just reported that a little while ago. As I record this video at 8:43, I mentioned that time because we want to see how much money he gets, because I had consulted artificial intelligence from Grok, and Grok had predicted that the Mariners were going to sign him for a 5-year, $85 million contract. We'll see how much money he's going to get. So, but you need to hit the subscribe button, because I use artificial intelligence here to find out where these players are going to go. And the first domino's fallen. Josh Naylor has signed a 5-year contract with the Seattle Mariners. This game could be over on a double play here. He's had a good year, but his defense has been terrible. This Lindor, and I've said for the last few years, Lindor should have won the last 3 Gold Gloves in 22, 23, and 24. But this year, the defense has been lacking. He's going to be 32 years old, in November. And that can't be forgotten about. Here's the pitch. Oh, it's going to be a double play. Oh, my God. Damn it. God damn it. Damn it. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. Said he's going to get it to a double play. Now we're going to have to go scorched earth. They had it here. They had a chance to win this game, and they didn't do it. And this is, I wouldn't say this is as bad as 2007, but this was a slow draining of blood out of a body. You know, it's bad enough that Shedeur Sanders didn't get picked number 1 in the draft last year. It's bad enough that he didn't, get drafted in the 2nd round. It's bad enough he didn't get drafted until the 4th round. You know what made it even worse, folks? He got drafted by the Cleveland Browns. If that's not bad enough, not even number 1 star. Well, he finally made his debut on Sunday. He didn't do so hot, and then there was some sort of, I guess, some kind of drama or some kind of theatrics, and we have this interesting article from Waffle Announcing talking about it and talking about the former Jets head coach Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan, I can't understand why he doesn't get a job in the NFL. That guy was a good coach. How many coaches get his team to the AFC Championship game and not get another shot at things? But anyway, Rex Ryan questions if Shedeur Sanders' post-game behavior was just for show. Quote, did he care, or are you trying to make it a show of making it about yourself? Now, I would mention this is the Baseball Hut 3. We're talking about broadcasters and what's going on. But, of course, let me know what you think about this video. Rex Ryan wants to know why Shedeur Sanders hadn't received any first-team reps before Sunday. That, however, is likely with the similarities in their opinions. This is what Josina Anderson. Their opinions about the former Colorado Stars NFL debut end. Appearing on ESPN's Get Up on Monday, Rex discussed Sanders' 4 for 16, 47-yard, 1 interception performance off the bench in the Cleveland Browns. That's terrible. Cleveland Browns 23-16 loss to the Baltimore Ravens. While the former New York Jets head coach questioned why the Browns had yet to give the 23-year-old any first-team practice reps, despite him only being a play away as Cleveland's number 2 quarterback, he also doesn't believe that Sanders is blameless either. Well, Shedeur Sanders is in this position where he got drafted so low because of his attitude at the combine. He did not impress certain teams, particularly the New York Giants. Shedeur, quote Shedeur, he's got to get over himself too, Ryan said. Like he's there by himself on the bench at the end of the game. I've never seen that. I've seen it in the 7th game of the World Series when you lose a game or whatever. This is a game. It's a pillow fight game. Nobody cares. Interesting. Interesting that, Rex Ryan, all his sort of bravado. He's a very astute football guy. Quote, he cares. Adam Scheffler interjected. Ryan didn't seem to be buying it. Did he care? Or are you trying to make it a show of making it about himself? The 62-year-old former head coach of the Jets continued. You got a guy over there that, by the way, is a 2-time MVP right there, Lamar Jackson. He was looking for you. Why don't you share a moment with him, all right? Share a moment with Lamar. He's looking over for you. Then get in there with your teammates. These are your teammates I'm talking about. I'm not comfortable losing. You think anyone in the locker room is? They better not be. Ryan proceeded to state that he believes there is 100% a disconnect between Sanders and the Browns coaching staff, but that he's looking forward to seeing the reigning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year on the field with a full week of practice, with Cleveland's first team under his belt nonetheless. I mean, why is he sitting on the bench all depressed? That's kind of strange. That's really strange. He should be like up and trying to motivate his teammates. This isn't the first time that Ryan's publicly criticized Sanders' behavior. Last month, he also took issue with the quarterback's mime-like response to the Browns trading Joe Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh boy, this guy, Shedeur Sanders, he's a bit of a weirdo, isn't he? Doing mime? Dating back to the pre-draft process, the young Sanders' son has inexplicably been one of the NFL's biggest stories. And now that it appears he's landed in Cleveland's starting lineup after fellow rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel exited the loss to the Ravens with a concussion, it appears the coverage surrounding Sanders is only ramping up. Oh, it's just getting started. It's just getting started. But then, this is a player that deserves criticism because of his attitude. The Giants had given him a test at the combine, and instead of trying to figure out how to solve the problem that they put in front of him, he's like, I give up. Basically said I'm not the man for you. This is a job. That was a job interview. You got to be looking for a job, and he didn't treat it like that. Now, what does Josina Anderson think of this thing with Sanders? Again, from Awful Announcers, Josina Anderson vigorously defends Shedeur Sanders after disappointing NFL debut. Shedeur Sanders, with hardly any first-team reps this season, throws a pick. Well, nevertheless, you can't be making excuses. He's in the NFL. And it's weird. It's like the NFL commentators, they love to. He's like that project. He's like a pet project for the writers. I don't know why. I don't know why. Shedeur Sanders made his terrible, horrible, no good, very bad debut for the Cleveland Browns Sunday afternoon. But according to one NFL insider, it wasn't all his fault. After months of speculation over where and when Sanders would see his first NFL action, it happened Sunday afternoon when Browns rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel was forced to exit the game with a concussion. Sanders was handed a lead against the Ravens, but his 4th of 16 passing for 47 yards, 1 interception, and a fumble. A fumble? They didn't mention that in the first article. Wasn't enough for Cleveland to hang on, as it ended up losing 23-16. Well, that's a 7-point loss. That's one score. So what the hell is he doing sitting on the bench all depressed? That makes no sense. This makes no sense. That he's sitting on, sad and pathetic. Not being with his teammates. That doesn't make any sense. That makes 0 sense to me. You should be up for it. You should be like, oh, I'm so happy to be in there. Anderson may have been able to make one of those posts fans noticed the slanted coach, but repeatedly finding ways to defend Sanders as the game was crumbling around him. Eventually, it became too much. Well, when things crumble around you, like one of my videos, you never know what's going to happen. Shedeur Sanders, with hardly any first-team reps this season, throws a pick. Anderson wrote about the quarterback's interception. But the post that received the most attention from Anderson came when she described his third and 10 completion late in the fourth quarter as an against-all-odds play. I saw the play. Just a little throw. Anderson was seemingly defining it as against all odds because Sanders entered the game with no first-team reps. In reality, the play went against all odds because Sanders was having an awful game and threw the pass about 8 yards short of the first down marker, only to be bailed out by his wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy. Judy's good. He's a good receiver. I don't know how he's been. He was a great receiver in college. I don't know how he's been with the Browns, but boy, he's a great receiver. He's one of the best receivers in the sport, to be honest with you. Sanders was brutal in his unplanned debut. Sure, the rookie quarterback wasn't put in the best position to succeed, but that shouldn't overshadow how bad he was. This doesn't have to be a career-defining game for Sanders. He'll eventually get first-team reps and another opportunity to prove he deserves to be a starter. The story Sunday afternoon was Sanders went 4 for 16, 47 yards, and lost to Baltimore. Not the fact that a quarterback who was a third string for most of the season wasn't given any first-team reps in practice. Now, this is the weird thing. about the media. The media keeps thinking that this is the 1980s, the 1990s, when there were very few black quarterbacks, okay? And they still want to perpetuate this nonsense that there's racism and the culture, and that's why Sanders didn't get a shot at things. That's why they were pissed off that he didn't go until the 5th round, or whatever, the 4th round, or whatever it was, the Browns. They're mad that Jackson Dart got picked by the Giants. Really just overall mad that they look at him as sort of a victim, but he's just not that good, you know. And it doesn't help that he has this sort of prima donna attitude, you know. I can't even say that his father put him in this position, because the father, you know, Dion was a great player, and he played hard. This guy, you know, he's a very strange individual from what I've seen. And to be sitting on, and you lose by 7 points, that's one score. So at any point, the team, that they could have asked Sanders, it's like, Shador, you got to go out there for the last drive. We got like 2 minutes left in the game. He could have won the game late in the game. I mean, that 4 for 16 could have been 5 for 17, or 7 for 17, or 7 for 18, whatever it is. And he could have had a touchdown that could have won the game or tied the game. Instead, he's sitting on the bench. You only lost by 7 points. You should be with your teammates, saying, what do they need to do better here? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? He didn't do that. I can understand Rex saying this is probably all for show, trying to be the perpetual victim. You know, like I said, the media wants to make it seem like there's no black quarterbacks, but meanwhile we have, you know, they're all great stars and all great players, like from Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and down the line. But they want to make it seem like he's the only quarterback that's black in the NFL that's struggling. And that's what it comes down to. That's what it really comes down to. But you let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to Baseball Hut 3. And I'll see you later. They put out the names for the ballot for the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. I expect that the Mets' Carlos Beltran will get in this year. He had over 70% of the vote last year. So, in all likelihood, he's going to get in. I would say that he is controversial. Became controversial at the end of his career with this thing that happened with the Houston Astros in 2017. But he finished his career 4th all-time and home runs by a switch hitter, which is, we have some great names on here like Mickey Mantle and Eddie Murray and Larry Jones, and they're the only ones in front of him that have more home runs. And he was a well-rounded player. He was a great defensive player, a great base runner. I expect him to get in. As you know, he was just announced as in the Mets Hall of Fame. That'll happen this year. I'm sure there's going to be lots of big ceremonies for Beltran. Maybe his number will get retired. I expect big things in terms of news. All right, everybody, this is the Prospect Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Prospect Hut. And hopefully, like this video and hit that subscribe button. Let's talk about the Mets farm system. And really, the minor league organization. They had the second best record in all minor league baseball. This is one of the best minor league systems in all of baseball. Some of the best prospects in baseball, and they're showing it just through this whole thing with the record. That's pretty obvious. But sometimes, you get a lot of veterans, on your, in your organization. They help. But this is what we have here. It's certainly not the ending to 2025 that the big league club wants to see. However, elsewhere in the New York Mets system, teams flourished. That's right. So much so the organization's record from single A to the triple A levels was the second best of the 30 organizations. Only the Tigers outdid the Mets, as Detroit's 4 minor league teams combined for a stunning 61.24 win percentage and 335 wins. The Mets trailed them with 316 wins and a 57.77% win percentage. Behind the Mets, the New York Yankees, the Pittsburgh Pirates, amazingly enough, and the Tampa Bay Rays all featured win percentages around 55%. Nesting at the bottom of the rankings were the Baltimore Orioles and Los Angeles Angels, each posting win percentages around 42%. That does not spell well for the Baltimore Orioles fans, because that organization is lazy and they have not done anything to get them to be even a stronger contender with all their young players at the major league level. As for the rest of the National League East, the Mets and Miami Marlins were the only teams in the top 10 in win percentage. Miami specifically ranked 10th with a win percentage of 51.82%. The Phillies trailed Miami at 14 While the Atlanta Braves and Washington Nationals were near the bottom of the rankings at number 26 and 27. Boy, oh boy, that can't be good news for our Atlanta Braves. The scum sucking Atlanta Braves. That's not good. That's their problem. But this just sort of talks about how the Mets, in particular Dave Stearns, and prior to him, Billy Epler, had brought in a lot of talent from college the last few years. The last two drafts, the 23, 24, well, the last few drafts, 23, 24, and 25, the Mets brought in a lot of young players from college and a lot of players from big programs like Oklahoma State, Florida, and a few other places. And that makes a big difference. And bringing in high-end, high school players too, where you go over slot, you pay, high school players at the lower part of the draft, for more money. That helps too. But let me know what you think about this video, and of course, please subscribe to the Prospect Hut. I'll see you later. All right, everybody, this is the Prospect Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, and welcome back to the Prospect Hut, and hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So we're back here. I'm talking about Carson Bench, the Mets #1 pick from 2024. He had a great year in 2025, and there's more than just talk. David Stearns, Mets president of baseball operations, and de facto general manager, said last week during the GMEs that he's going to have a chance to be the Mets' everyday center fielder come spring training. And there's a reason why he had a big year in the minor leagues. Just had a tremendous year. Now, he was drafted as a two-way player, as a pitcher, and as a bat, and as an outfielder. And the Mets asked him and told him, it's like, you have a better chance to be an everyday player and be more successful than on the mound. And that's what he did last year. He gave up being a pitcher, and he took off. And this is here's a deep dive into Carson Bench's sensational 2025 season. Of course, hit the subscribe button and like this video. The past season was a terrific one, to say the least, for the Mets' first-round pick in 2024. Starting in Brooklyn and ending in Syracuse, it was a whirlwind year for Carson Bench, who flew through the Mets minor leagues because of his great performance at every level he played. Let's take a deeper look at his campaign this past year. Starting Brooklyn High A, Bench had a great start, putting up a slash line of 302, 417 on base, 480 slugging percentage for 897 OPS. The power was impressive, to say the least. The Brooklyn Cyclones ballpark is known for killing left-handed hitters, but Bench fought through it. Played fantastic baseball and earned the promotion to Binghamton. Now in Double-A, Bench really put himself on the map and started to cement himself as one of the top prospects in all of baseball. It all came together for him as he put up a ridiculous line of 317 batting average, 407 on base, 571 slugging percentage. That's 978 OPS. With 8 home runs and 23 RBIs in just 32 games. Bench's name started traveling fast around the baseball world as he flew up major prospect boards, which made his AAA call-up towards the end of the year very exciting and a foregone conclusion. I had that last part. When Bench was called up to AAA, he played 4 games before going on the minor league injured list for about 12 days. He returned to get about a month of baseball at the highest level of professional baseball he's played since. You could tell he had a bit of an adjustment period as he hit 178 with a 272 on base, 311 on slugging percentage, and just over 100 plate appearances. So you have to remember the AAA has StatCast data, so you can go under the hood a little bit to see how the underlying metrics look. Benji looked really good as he had an average exit velocity of 92.1 miles per hour and a hard hit rate of 52.8%, which is solid, and shows that maybe bad luck played a factor in why his start in Syracuse was cold. For reference, the 92.1 miles per hour average exit velocity would have carried and ranked in the major leagues in the 89th percentile, and the hardest hit rate in the league's 93rd percentile rate. Whatever. Mets president of baseball operations, David Stearns, said to reporters at the GMEs that Bench will have an opportunity going into spring training to make the Mets opening day roster, which is very encouraging for one of the Mets' young and exciting prospects. Now, I'm a little concerned by that because I don't want the Mets to rush him, get him too quickly up to the major leagues, and put a lot of pressure on him. They must really have high hopes on him in terms of his character and his personality to handle the pressure. Now, he did play in a big college in Oklahoma, and where they played a lot of big games. but it's not New York, so Oklahoma State. But I'm a little concerned by that. I don't want to put any pressure on him. I would hope if the Mets do that they bring in a veteran center fielder that can really hold his own in case he's not here and at the beginning of the season. So let me know what you think about this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Prospect Hut, and I'll see you later. All right, everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut. Hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So I'm coming to you giving you a major update about Pete Alonso. As you know, the other day on Sunday, first baseman Josh Naylor re-signed with the Mariners on a 5-year, $92.5 million contract. Now, I had doing all these predictions with the assistance of artificial intelligence, AI, and AI said that he was going to sign for $85 million for 5 years. So the AI was pretty close in terms of where he was going to go. Now, I've asked AI where Pete was going to sign. I have a short on here saying that he was going to sign with the Cubs. Now, that's changed now with all the information that AI has been getting off the internet and through different articles that are written about the Mets and just backlog things from people talking about it. And now it seems like the possibility of him coming back to the Mets is not very high. I've been saying that I felt that he's probably done with the Mets. Probably emotionally, because he did change his picture on Instagram. Not that that matters, put up a college picture instead of his Mets picture that he had on there for a few years. But the word is that the Red Sox, and I predicted the Red Sox a couple weeks ago, that was my prediction, and now AI is agreeing with that. I don't think he's going to get 5 years. I think he's going to get more years than what Naylor got. Naylor's a good player, but he's not Pete Alonso, and he certainly doesn't have the power, doesn't have the RBI pedigree. And because of that, I don't see the Mets going past 5 years with Pete. I can see the Red Sox give him 6 years, 7 years, make him the DH after he plays first for a few years, and that's it. Dave Stearns had said a lot over the last few weeks that he wants to improve the defense on this team, and we know that Pete's defense has taken a step back. I don't think he's that bad at first, but they kind of sort of want to improve that quote-unquote run prevention. The first way to prevent run prevention is getting better pitchers in here and having a better pitching coach. The first thing they did was, of course, they got rid of Jeremy Hefner, but now they're looking to see what they can do defensively. Now, offensively, they're going to take a big hit because that's over 120-something RBIs, close to 40 home runs they're going to lose, but they're going to have to find it somewhere else on this market. And it's not a bad market for what the Mets are looking at and what they want. Now, the rumor is, and of course, AI has put out there, the AI that I have consulted is that the Mets are going to sign Cody Bellinger to a 7-year deal. $170 million? Something like that. He's going to get more than that. And they could play him at first a little bit. He's an outfielder. They could play him in center field. They could play him in left field. So they kind of have some options there with him. Also, AI has also predicted that the Mets will sign, and I kind of think that's probably where they might go, is put the posting money in for Kazuma Okamoto, who's a Japanese infielder. He's got power, but he's a very good defensive first baseman, very good defensive third baseman, very good infielder, and has power, and he's right-handed. The scouts say that he will translate better to Major League Baseball than Murakami will. So his upside is not as high as Murakami, but he'll be more consistent and be a more rounded player than Murakami. There's not as much swing and miss in his swing and his ability to make contact as Murakami has. So I don't think Murakami's coming here anyway. I don't think the Mets are all that interested because he's not a good defensive player. But I could see them doing this. I could also see them put, again, I talked about this. I put Brandon Nimmo as a designated hitter. Put him there as DH. You know what you can get offensively from him. put him down the middle line, 5th, 6th in the lineup, and just go with that. I think that makes the most sense for the Mets this offseason and into the season. I've been reading a lot of things. Well, you know, they'll be stuck playing him at left field. Why? Mets don't have a DH, and you don't have to play Nimmo in left field every day. You can play him there once in a while. You could put Bellinger there if you want to, and of course we've all heard about them wanting to play Carson Benjamin center field, you know, to start the season. So the Mets have a lot of options here. I would say, though, which is a concern, is bringing in Bellinger would make them very, very left-handed. That's why an Okamoto makes sense because it brings some balance to the lineup. It's a very left-handed hitting lineup with Bellinger in, because then you don't have Pete, so you make yourself very vulnerable against left-handed pitching. And the Mets weren't that great last year against left-handed pitching, for the most part. And that's with Pete, you know. I would mention that if they do that kind of move, Okamoto and Bellinger, in all likelihood that means that Mark Vientos is out of here. We also have heard rumors, and I've talked about this a lot, that Jeff McNeil's probably going to be gone, traded. AI saying that he's going to get traded to Houston, you know, for a prospect and a middle reliever. And, you know, he's been here a long time. He needs to go. But that's that gets rid of a left-handed hitter. But the Mets are still very left-handed. With Soto, Bellinger, Nimmo, it's a lot of left-handed hitting. And, you know, with the DH, with Lindor, I wonder if you would move Lindor out of the 2-hole at this point, or the leadoff spot, to create more balance in your lineup. But that's kind of where we're looking at right now. But again, I really don't see Pete being back. Last year I was very much saying to you folks, he's going to come back. I did a lot of videos, he's going to go here, he's going to go there. But I was very forthright in what I felt, that he was going to be back this past year, and he was. He had a great year. Really carried the Mets. The Mets didn't lose because of Pete. But they've been together, this group has been together a long time. So they didn't win. And like I've been saying now for the last few weeks, I don't expect Pete back. So I've been saying, you know, we got to prepare ourselves emotionally that he's going to be leaving. And we wish him well. Now, if he comes back, great. Then we can sort of figure out what the Mets are going to do with him. You know, they're going to play him every day first. Play him part of the time as DH because he can't play every day. I would still sign Bellinger no matter what, in my opinion. Because it gives him another bat in that lineup with Alonso. And it lengthens this lineup out. One of the major problems of this team last year, this past season, is that this lineup was too top heavy. And the Mets were expecting a lot of production out of Vientos and out of Alvarez, and they got nothing out of them. First half of the season, they got nothing out of Alvarez. They had to send him to the minor leagues. He came back, he was better, but not, in my opinion, to where he was an impact bat. He certainly didn't impact the game as much as I would like to see him impact the game. He wasn't hitting 25 home runs. I don't know where that power has gone. And Vientos was nowhere to be found. They kind of figured out not to pitch him, sort of throw everything away. And he didn't make the adjustment like he did the year before where he was trying to hit the ball to the opposite field. So he didn't make that adjustment like he had the year before and just trying to pull everything. So those two guys not doing what they were supposed to do really hurt this team. If they got more production out of Vientos, more production out of Alvarez, they would have won a wild card spot at the very least. No matter where the pitching was and how poorly the pitching was, they would have gotten something out of this lineup. But this team needs more balance in the lineup. It needs to be much better at the bottom of the lineup. You can't have a situation where if Alvarez gets hurt and you have Torrens in there and he's an automatic out. He's an automatic out at this point in his, you know, when he played every day. He looked terrible. He wasn't getting any hits. I mean, he's a great defensive player. He has a great arm. You know, he's able to throw runners out. But his bat it sucks. It's terrible. And we saw it when Alvarez was in the minor leagues, how tough it was with him in the lineup every day. Mets are going to be relying a lot on Brett Baty. He's another guy who's left-handed. So, the Mets have to figure out what kind of lineup they're going to have, especially if they lose Pete. That's, the Pete gives them that balance. But, like I said, the prediction here at the baseball hut is that he's not going to be here in 2026. He'll be gone. And he'll be in Boston, I would think. I've thought that way, and now AI has confirmed it. And we'll see. But I don't think it's going to take that long. By the time we get to the winter meetings in a few weeks, the Pete Alonso era will be settled. Either it'll continue or he'll be gone. You let me know what you think about this video. Of course, just to keep a reminder to you, I have other channels. I have the Baseball Hut 2. I could use some more subscribers there. We talk about everything on there with Major League Baseball. Also, the Baseball Hut 3. I don't know what the hell I'm doing there. That's a new little channel that I have. And of course, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully, we'll have some resolution on Pete. And of course, thank you for watching. Have a good day. I'll see you later. Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Hut. The amazing, spectacular, horrific, the great one, the people's champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut. And hopefully, you like this video. Hit that subscribe button. So, we got some news here. I posted a little while ago. The Mets have basically DFA'd, released. They put him on waivers, hoping that he'll get released. It's Frankie Montas. A disaster of a signing. From the moment they announced it, and then when he pitched, and he didn't pitch much, he pitched 9 games. It was terrible. And then he blew out his arm. So the Mets are stuck having to pay him, but that's all right. Get him the hell out of here. I was not happy when they made that signing because I didn't think it was. I think that's one of those situations where Stearns thought he could be a little bit, sneaky, because he made a lot of sneaky moves, last year or 2 years ago, and I think he thought that he was going to get away with it last year and this year. It was not a good signing. Montas has shown with the Yankees he wasn't a good fit here. And not for nothing, he was out of shape, okay? The guy was out of shape. Let's be honest. Now, since he's off the 40-man roster, they announced that they put on the 40-man roster Nick Morabito, who's a outfield prospect that has had a good year. They didn't want to lose him to the Rule 5 draft. He was going to get picked up because he had a good year in the minor leagues this past year. He's stolen over 100 bases the past 2 years. And he's played really, really well in the Arizona Fall League. And the Mets did not want to lose him. He was just too valuable a player. He's probably going to help the Mets this year in the outfield. The Mets are trying to get younger. I would mention that, more than mention, that, I obviously know what this video is about. It's about Senga, Nimmo, and McNeil. Now, the Mets are trying to get rid of Senga. I guess they're tired of his sort of weirdness about, I can't pitch, I need to pitch a certain way. I think they're tired of that. And they didn't sign him. Billy Epler signed him. So when you come in and you bring in people that hasn't performed for you, you're not going to have a short leash. I think they were really irritated with him this past season, specifically when he came back from that injury that he had. So he is extremely. This is how Jeff Passan put it in his article that he's extremely available. I think he'll be gone. I don't think he'll be here. Also, they're making Brandon Nimmo and Jeff McNeil available. I've been saying that they need to make drastic changes to this team because I used historical perspective of the 2007 Mets and the 2008 Mets. Omar Minai, the former general manager, and he was a good general manager, but he did not recognize the sense of urgency and the sense of having to do drastic change when you have historic collapses. He didn't recognize that. And I've seen this also in baseball history. The other, of course, prior to that was the 64 Phillies. Whatever the Phillies were thinking at the time, they did not make any changes after they had that collapse in 64, where they had the lead, they lost to the Cardinals, and that team basically disintegrated. The whole franchise disintegrated after that, to a point where by 1969, 1970, they were the worst team in baseball. So, I have historical perspective when it comes to where the Mets need to be. Mets need to make drastic changes. We saw that with the coaching staff, and they need to do more. I mean, getting rid of the coaching staff is a big step. But I would mention, and I've talked about this a lot, is the Mets have to be very smart about how they handle Carlos Mendoza, especially if they don't get off the fast start next year. But let's get back to Nimmo and McNeil. McNeil has been here since 2018. He was part of that 2019 team they got off the slow start. They won 86 games that year. Primarily, the major problem with that team was that Edwin Diaz had a terrible first year here. There's a big reason why they didn't go to postseason. However, that team got off the slow start. He was part of that team. He was also part of the 2021 team that had a terrible second half. He was part of the 22 team that had a terrible September. It didn't play well in postseasons after he won batting title. 23, they didn't have a good year. They traded all the veterans. Obviously, last year was excellent, but they got off to a very slow start. And obviously, this year was like a slow draining of blood out of the body. So this sort of up and down, lack of consistency, he was part of it, as well as Brandon Nimmo. And Brandon has been here since 2016. And he's been part of all this. So, along with Edwin Diaz and, of course, Pete Alonso, and as well as having Lindor with them for part of this. Now, Lindor has a long-term contract. He's not going anywhere. Same thing with Juan Soto. He's not a reason why the Mets did not play well down the stretch. He had an excellent first season. But the Mets need to do more to sort of change the dynamic within that clubhouse and within this team. I've talked about this for many years now, specifically after the 22 season, that they need to make changes, especially when they did not play well. They didn't do enough. 21 into 22, they brought in some very good players. Starlin Marte was a key player. Now, I would move on from Marte. I think he's been here too long. And obviously, Canna and Eduardo Escobar were very good here. Now, I would mention, Brandon Nimmo has a big contract. He's got 5 years left. He's got a no-trade clause. He has value as a player. He had a good season this past year, drove 90 runs, 25 home runs. He's not a leadoff hitter anymore. He's sort of the sixth, in my view, he's a number 6 hitter, 7th hitter. You'll get a lot of production out of him. You can move around a little bit here and there, but for the most part, that's what he should be in your lineup. Should be batting cleanup. That's not a good idea, in my opinion. But he's 32 years old. He's 33 years old. He does not have great legs anymore. He always has problems with those legs. Takes him forever to get ready in spring training. Mets have to figure out what they want to do with him. But, his attitude is not why the team did not play well. This is not personal. It's only business. Jeff McNeil has 1 year left on his contract with a club option. And they, whatever club picks him up, he has a $2 million buyout. So those are two names that are going to be bandied about. McNeil's going to be gone. I'd be surprised if he's not gone. And according to AI, that he's going to get traded to the Astros. That's the team. Now, I would mention, this is kind of interesting, that the Mets have also made available Luis Angel Acuna, which doesn't surprise me. It's according to Passan. Mark Vientos and Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty, he's not David Wright, okay? He's not David Wright. And you can move on from him without a problem. And to me, that's what the Mets need to do. Is if you have 3 third basemen on your team, this is also Brian Reese, you have 3 third basemen, and you can't decide who the third baseman is, then you don't have a third baseman. We mentioned Ryan Helsley's not going to be back. Well, what a shock. And I saw this sort of interview he did with some St. Louis podcaster. Oh, he really didn't want to leave St. Louis. Well, I know one thing. He certainly didn't want to be here. Just due to the fact that the production was so poor, piss poor. I saw this also a weird thing that they wanted to sign Devin Williams. And it's not weird because the Mets want to sign him. but they want to have it where he's like part of a back end of the bullpen with Edwin Diaz. I don't think that's realistic. I don't think Devin Williams will want to go to a team where he's like part of a tandem closing games. I don't see that happening. I can certainly see the Mets signing him because he did pitch for David Stearns. He developed them in his farm system, but I do not see them together at all. But the Mets are interested in Devin Williams. I have no issue with him. He pitched okay for the Yankees. He got off to a very rough start. But, I don't see them here, both of them here. I don't. Because it makes no sense to put all that money into two relievers. Makes no sense. And according to what they're saying, let me just read this. They are interested in Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez, but it seems like the Twins are probably going to move one of them, not both of them. Mets. So the Mets are going to be looking for big game free agents and trade pieces. So that's interesting. He mentioned Kyle Tucker, which surprised me a little bit. Of course, Pete, Alonso, Dylan Cease, Framber Valdez. Should look into that. Kyle Schwarber. And the Mets are more inclined to make a major splash this offseason. So this is all good news, but you have to figure out what you want to do with some of the players that are here. That's the one thing the Mets are going to have to figure out. Now, there's actually very good options for the Mets here in the free agent market. Cody Bellinger, we know the Mets are very interested in him. The Dodgers got interested in him. There's Kazumo Okamoto. People really like him a lot. The Mets have a lot of options here. There's a lot of good free agents this year as opposed to last year. In the last 2 years, really, the last 2 years, the sort of variety wasn't there. Last year we know the big guy was, and that's Juan Soto. But the year before was a lousy market. This year's much better market. Very good players on this market. And I saw a rumor about Kyle Schwarber going to the Pirates. The Pirates, they're not picking him up. If anybody believes that, that's crazy. But we have let's have a very good chance to have a good team next year. So that's the one thing. The Mets are going to spend money. Stearns better learn from his mistakes in terms of pitching like Frankie Montas. Get guys that are like, a guarantee that they're going to play well. They're healthy. They're going to pitch well. They're going to hit well. Not the sort of, we're going to take a shot. Now, the Mets are going to be young next year. The Mets have a ton of young players that need to play. That's why guys like Jeff McNeil are going to be out of here. That's why they're going to push very hard to get Brandon Nimmo out of here. Because they want to play these younger guys. Let's have a lot of talent in their farm system. They have to play them. Can't have them sitting down in the minor leagues. It's a big waste of time. In terms of just the bats and everything else. The value's not there. Especially guys that are getting close to AAA. And that's going to have a lot of prospects in AAA next year. They have to play a little bit of time there, and they get to the majors. And you can't have all these veteran players that have been holding this franchise back, hanging around, skulking around. But you let me know what you think about this video, and I'll have plenty of videos for you as much as I can every day. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Yo, host on. Welcome back to the Baseball Hut, too, and hopefully you like this video. Hit that subscribe button. So we're going to talk about the new Japanese players that are going to get posted and been posted today, and of course and in the near future. Let's talk about Tatsuya Amai, who's a pitcher. And before we get into this video, hit the subscribe button and watch the entirety of this video. It's official. Amai has officially been posted as the league informed teams today. Amai's posting window opens tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central Time and closes on January 2nd at 4 p.m. Central Time. So we would think that he'll sign prior to that. But this is from MLB Trade Rumors. Both of these are from MLB Trade Rumors. It was reported last week that right-handed Tatsuya Amai would be posted by the Seibu lines of the Nippon Professional Baseball. His agent Scott Boras met with members of the media today at the general managers meetings last week and said the posting would become official on November 19th. Ben Nicholson-Smith or Sportsnet was among those to pass it along. Once the posting becomes official, it will open up a 45-day window for Amai and Boras to negotiate with all 30 major league clubs. Technically, they will have until early January to work something out. It's probably fair to expect a deal to come together before the holidays, when the hot stove activity tends to slow down. Amai should garner lots of interest based on his results and also his age. His run average in Japan has been 2.34 or lower in the 3 straight seasons now, including a 1.92 mark in 2025. Strikeout rate has ticked up from 14.4% 2 years ago to 26.3% last year, and it's 27.8% this year. Meanwhile, his walk rate has dropped from 11.4 to 9.8 to 7% over 3 years. He's currently 27 years old. Teams have shown that they value that youth. Recent deals for young players like Juan Soto, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Jung-Ho Lee have surged beyond expectations. Amai won't have as much earning power as Yamamoto, who secured $325 million over 12 years. Yamamoto was even younger, having just turned 25 when he was posted. Also had the superior track record of performance. Still, Amai should find lots of interest. MLB trade rumors predicted he could secure a $150 million guarantee on a 6-year deal. The signing team will also owe the Lions a posting fee on top of the guarantee they give Amai. The Lions will get 20% of the contract's first $25 million, 17.5% of the contract's next $25 million, and 15% of any money above $50 million mark. If Amai were to sign a deal matching the $150 million projection, his new team would owe the Lions over $24 million. The righty has already been connected to the Mets. Scott Boras whispered John Heyman. So that tells you that the Mets are very serious if John Heyman's reporting that. He also reported today that the Yankees will be looking at Amai as well as Lucas Giolito. The Yankees go into 2026 with their rotation in flux due to injuries. It projects to be much different later in the year compared to the end of the camp. Garrett Cole is still recovering from last year's Tommy John surgery and won't be ready by spring training. Carlos Rodon underwent a procedure to remove loose bodies from his left elbow and is expected to start the year on the injured list as well. Clark Schmidt, well, this is all about the Yankees, but the point being is he's considered the best pitcher right now coming over from Japan as we speak. So he's a guy that has a good chance to be a number 3 starter, I think. I don't know much about him. I really don't know much about him, to be honest with you. I'll never pretend to know a player I haven't seen him. So now here's the next players, again, from MLB trade rumors, Kazuma Okamoto. And he's going to be posted on November 19th as well. It's been known for nearly a month now that MPB infielder Kazuma Okamoto is set to be posted by the Yomiuri Giants this winter. Now, what's interesting about that is this is the first time the Giants in Japan, the Yomiuri Giants, have ever posted a player. They never make their players available. It's the first time they've ever done that. So they must have a lot of respect for this player if they're doing that. They've never done that with any player. But a report from Nikon Sports this morning provided a bit more specificity regarding his timeline. He'll be officially posted tomorrow, November 19th. Now kick off a 45-day window for teams to negotiate with Okamoto, who's represented by Scott Boras of the Boras Corporation. That's the same posting date as righty Tatsuya Amai, Boras' client. Boras told reporters that the pair would follow the same approximate timeline. They'll be posted tomorrow before traveling to the U.S. in early December. That sets them up to be in the country in time to begin negotiations with clubs ahead of this year's winter meetings, which are set to run from December 7th through December 10th this year. The posting window for both Okamoto and Amai is set to end in early January. But it would not be a surprise to see the pair to sign before the holidays, given the slowdowns of activity around that time. Turning back to Okamoto specifically, the 29-year-old is coming off a strong season at 25 that was abbreviated by an elbow injury. While he only played in 69 games, he hit .327, 416 on base, .598 slugging percentage with 15 homers and 21 doubles in just 293 trips to the plate. He also showed strong contact ability and plate discipline, 11.3% strikeout rate. and walk rates. That's an unusually low strikeout rate for his standards, but even his 17.7 clips since the start of the 2018 season is nothing to scoff at. Impressive as his career 277, 361, 521 slash line Central League play is, however, it's worth remembering that MPB pitchers often lack the same high-end velocity that has become routine in MLB. Some scout reports included that of Eric Longenhagen of Fangraphs that know that Okamoto's numbers suffer against mid-90s at higher velocity. Of course, that's also a flaw that can improve with great exposure to those types of pitches. Okamoto has spent plenty of time at both infield corners over the years, and there has been some debate about his fit defensively in the majors. I've heard he's a good defensive player. He's good at first, he's good at the third. He's generally viewed as more capable of sticking long-term at the hot corner than fellow infielder Mutaka Murakami, though it's fair to expect some teams to view him as capable of being a regular third, while others see him more of a first base-only defender. Alex Bregman and Pete Alonso stand at the top of the third and first base markets, respectively, with Eugenio Suarez, Jorge Polanco, and Luis Ariz standing out among the other notable corner infield options available. MLB trade rumors predicted a four-year, $64 million deal for Okamoto at the outset of the offseason. Though it's worth noting there's at least some reason to believe Okamoto, Amai, and Murakami could all outperform expectations financially, at least to some extent. Well, these guys are represented by Boris, these two guys, so they're going to get a lot of money. The team that ultimately signs Okamoto will owe Yamori a posting fee on top of whatever they guarantee the infielder. Well, we'll see. I went to the numbers for Amai, but Okamoto and Amai, the Mets have, if you're a Met fan, they both have a very good chance to be signed by the Mets because the Mets are attached to both of them. Now, if they sign Okamoto, they'll play him at first, and that means that Pete Alonso is done with the Mets as a Met forever. So that kind of puts the final nail in that coffin, as it were. But Amai and Okamoto are very talented players. I look forward to seeing them, no matter what team they play on. I look forward to watching them play. Because all the Japanese players that we've seen over the last several years, like Amanaga and Sasaki and Otani and Jung-Ho Lee, all these guys from that part of the world, they are just so talented. And it's kind of sad that we don't see them till later, the middle or later into their career. We'll have to see some of them play, when they're much younger players. But I'll keep you posted. This is a lot of fun talking about these players. If you're watching these videos, these are two kinds of people watching this video: people that have seen these players and people that haven't seen them. This is not like me talking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Everybody's seen him, or Otani. Everybody's seen him, or Francisco Lindor. Everybody's seen him once, so everybody's seen him. Half the world doesn't know anything about these guys. Really, North America doesn't know anything about these guys. But we're going to learn very quickly about these guys and how good they are. And it's exciting to watch. So, thank you for watching this video. And, of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Head 2, and I'll see you later. Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Head 3. And hopefully you like this video and that subscribe. But I would say that if talking was a drinking contest, Stephen A. Smith would win it hands down. This guy likes to talk and talk and talk. There isn't a microphone he won't talk into. I mean, really, you don't want to see him hanging out in the produce section. He'll be talking into bananas and all this other stuff. But what's interesting is that I guess he got yanked from the NBA Countdown for ESPN. And again, like I said, this guy loves to talk. Let me read you off announcing. Stephen A. Because he has to explain what happened, and I have so much that he said in this. It's actually funny. Stephen A. Smith sets record straight that he was yanked off NBA Countdown. It's off announcing, quote, "I'm a busy man, busy talking." What's the problem? Just go on talking BS. Guys had 20 shows on ESPN plus his podcast. Plus he makes appearances on different shows. Stephen A. Smith opted to give up NBA Countdown when he agreed to his current contract with ESPN, and somehow the aggregate news cycle turned that into him being fired. Skadooshed. Smith will not be a regular contributor to ESPN's NBA Countdown this season. But the decision did not come as a surprise removal or firing. It was a move that was negotiated by Smith before signing his $100 million deal with ESPN last spring. But after waking up to headlines claiming ESPN pulled him from the show, Smith decided to address his status with Countdown. Countdown. This is another show he's on. I'm curious, how much talking does it take to put him and Chris Mad Dog Russo together? Does anybody say anything else on that show? It seems like they're the only ones to talk on that show. And of course, what's the other guy's name? It doesn't matter. Quote, I'm trying to figure out what the news is here, Smith said on the latest edition of Straight Shooter from Sirius XM. I had a contract negotiation last year that started in June and ended in March, going into April. It was decided at that particular moment in time that I wouldn't be doing NBA Countdown anymore because I didn't want to. I love doing the show, but after the show's over, I got a whole bunch of other stuff that I got to do. I didn't want to be stuck in the studio until midnight. No shade against ESPN. No shade against my wonderful colleagues. Just get sick of seeing it. Smith went on to cite an increased workload away from ESPN, having a coinciding deal with Sirius XM that has him hosting a daily afternoon show for Mad Dog Sports Radio and a weekly political show on POTUS Radio. This guy is all over the place. And people actually think that he's like some political savant. You know what the hell he's talking about. Additionally, Smith says he's working on more shows, projects, and scripted content for his production company than last year. Quote, in case you haven't noticed, I got other things on my plate, Smith continued. I'm a busy man. Just to be clear, I'm always available because once you're working for ESPN, you're part of the family. And if you need me, you're part of the family. It's like, was it like a mafia family? I don't think so. And if they need me for anything, of course, I'll show up. I'll show back up on NBA Countdown. They need me a few dates a year, I'm sure. They need me to be with the crew of Charles Barkley, Kenneth Smith, and Shaq and Ernie. Fine. No, we don't need you there. Those guys do fine on their own. They're great. I mean, these guys talk enough. We don't need a fifth wheel, you know. Quote, but it was always my intent to come off. It's something I negotiated, Smith insisted. So just so we're clear, the story is a non-story. This is not some epiphany that everybody's getting attached to that. Oh my God, this just happened. He's being yanked off the show. No, it didn't happen like that. I'm available when needed. And when I'm not needed, I got other stuff to do on my own. That was negotiated last year. Since the official press release announcing the cast of NBA Countdown for the 25-26 season was dropped earlier this week, with no mention of Smith's name, many outlets ran out the omission as if this was an ESPN decision to remove him from the show. That would be misrepresentation of Smith's departure. I love how this article is written, by the way, like he's the apologist for Smith. In March, The Athletic's Andrew Marchand reported Smith would no longer be a regular part of NBA Countdown as part of his new contract. And Smith similarly confirmed he was going to be a regular on Countdown on his radio show at the start of this NBA season. There might be skeptics because Smith hasn't historically opted out of any shows or additional airtime, but this wasn't breaking news, and it wasn't ESPN deciding to remove the face of its network from their NBA coverage. I think they kind of want to give Shaq and Barkley and Kenny Smith and Ernie their own lane. I think that's kind of part of it too, because they didn't want him going in and taking up the space and not shutting up. I mean, really. I mean, like I said, I never see any clips from anybody but him and Mad Dog. Anything that anybody talks about, it's just those two. Those guys don't shut up, like I said. And it seems like they're the only ones that ever say anything. I don't see this sort of, maybe you do, leave comments in the comment section. Tell me what you like about Stephen A. Smith. He doesn't really appeal to me, to be honest with you. He doesn't come across as very smart. He's always yelling and screaming. He doesn't stop talking. If you talk to him about politics, especially if you're somebody that's more of an expert than he is, he doesn't know what he's saying. He doesn't really, he seems to be kind of behind a lot of stuff. He reminds me very much, if you're old enough, in Living Color, this character that Damon Wayans played that was in jail, and he didn't quite learn how to use the words properly, and he would make these more different words together and make their own word. That's kind of what he reminds me of. This was the convict. I can't remember the name of the convict that was on that he played on the show, but that's who Stephen A. Smith reminds me of. Somebody that doesn't stop talking and says all kinds of stuff and keeps talking and talking and talking, and then just finds words that he could put into whatever he's saying. I know he's been around a long time, but I never heard him until a couple of years ago. But that's just me, I guess. But let me know what you think about this video, and of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut 3, and I'll see you later. We got a trade in Major League Baseball. The Anaheim Angels, are going to send Taylor Ward to the Baltimore Orioles for Grayson Rodriguez. This is a very interesting trade for both teams. I mean, the Orioles get, another guy for their lineup, and, he's more of a veteran player than what they have there, but they trade a very young pitcher, a guy that was number one pitching prospect in their organization for a very long time. He's 20-8 in his career in the major leagues. He's had a very good career so far. They're very confounding trade as I can see it right now, but that's the trade. Jeff Passan put that out there a little while ago. Grayson Rodriguez is going to the Anaheim Angels, and Taylor Ward, who had 36 home runs this past year, is going to Baltimore. So that's the trade. We expect a lot of trades. We expect a lot of moves as we head further into this offseason.